Hello there, welcome back to another review. Today I thought I'd have a look at the first film in the infamous classic Japanese saga Zatoichi. I know some people say Zatoichi, I've always said Zatoichi. I know probably a lot of Western people probably say it different, but I just say Zatoichi. So we'll be looking at the first film today, which is from my Criterion, I don't know if you can see that, but Criterion box set where all the films are included. Absolutely amazing box, absolutely amazing sofa collection. If you've never seen the Zatoichi films, but make sure to pick this up, check it out. It's quite expensive, it did cost me a bit of a penny, but it's just wonderful to have them all in one collection. I mean, hopefully the goal is, if I get time, if people enjoy these videos, hopefully I'd like to go through and review them all. I've got so much to say about every single one of the films, but we'll start with the first one today, and just talk about it, just a little review of it, what I think about it, and just why the Zatoichi films are just classics from Japanese cinema. I say made in 1962, starring Shintaro Katsu as a blind samurai swordsman character created by I think it was Kan Shimazawa, I think that was his name. There were like 26 films made, as well as a television series, which ran for over 100. Well, I think it was dead on actually 100 episodes. So, Shintaro Katsu, he done the films and he done the television series. So it's making it one of Japan's longest running series of films of all time. I mean, if you look at, say, like the James Bonds or like even the Carry On films, I mean, Zatoichi it's up there, one of the longest running film series. Especially from Japan. So as mentioned, the character of Zatoichi, as I said earlier, he's blind, he's a swordsman, he's a very skilled sort of warrior. He likes to gamble, and he's like a drifter, basically, who sort of wanders around the land. It's set during the Edo, I think it's the Edo period, I believe it's the Edo period, and his older brother, his real-life older brother, was actually most famous for appearing in the Lone Wolf and Cub films. But hopefully I'll get to the Lone Wolf and Cubs as well. But we're just, talking about Zatoichi today, and just going into it. These films are very much like soap operas. This first film, Tale of Zatoichi, the films do all follow a lot of similar traits to what would be you would classify quote unquote a soap opera. There's certain things in all the films that there is sometimes always sort of a running thread. There are things, plot elements that are repeated in later films. You've got Yakuza bosses, a woman who doesn't like the life she is. There's always like an evil, hot-headed brother, or there's a turf war going on. And, they're not so much action films, though they can be looked upon as such. There is definitely that soap element to them. There is definitely sort of almost like a drama to these films. Katsu, he puts his whole body into this role, from his laugh to his mannerisms to the way he walks. It really is a true powerhouse of a performance. If you've never seen these films before, just don't go into them expecting just loads of action. I think this is where a lot of people sort of misunderstand the Zatoichi films. It's a real performance that is being given here. Every time we see him as a Zatoichi, he just absolutely embodies this role. It is incredible. It really is an amazing performance, and I can't praise it enough. I mean, I absolutely love these films. I've seen them all countless amount of times, but Tale of Zatoichi, we'll just start with the first one. So basically the film starts with Ichi arriving at a Yakuza boss's house, as he knows him sort of previously. First we learn about him is that when he arrives, he likes to gamble. Straight away, as soon as he arrives at this boss's house, he wants to gamble, he wants a bit of the action. And they think, okay, like blind swordsman, because a lot of people, it's the idea of like he's blind, so people judge that like, okay, he's less than us, he's got weakness, but Ichi is as strong and as sharp and as wise as anybody, regardless of the fact he can see or not. He doesn't get taken for a fool easily, and that's what makes him such a wonderful character. So they think he's going to be easy money, but it isn't. And Zatoichi beats them all, ends up basically taking their money. And basically this boss is going to use his skills, because he's, like I say, he's a skilled swordsman. He's going to use him against a rival clan. Have also hired another samurai. Again, it's always about control or a turf war or this like rival clan that doesn't get on with that clan. That's usually sort of the bulk of what these films sort of entail. So even though they're going to use another, their rival clan's going to use another guy, even though, like I say, this samurai is very skilled as well, like Ichi, he's actually ill. So a very interesting dynamic there, that these two swordsmen that they've hired, these two skilled samurai warriors, they both have weaknesses. One's blind, one's ill. That's a very interesting thing. Rather than, they're sort of handicapped right away. They've got things that are going to just impede them if they sort of come to blows. There's they're not exactly in top condition, especially, like I say, the samurai hired by the other crew. So very interesting. I know that both have weaknesses. There's a wonderful scene when they are both fishing together, knowing they are just swords for hire. They have this utmost respect for each other. They're sitting down, but they're talking naturally. They understand it's just a job. They understand that one of them may die. They understand that they're just swords for hire, but they're civil to each other. And it's a really nice scene if you ever see this film between Ichi and the other swordsman. They have utmost respect for each other, and when Ichi's having drinks with him, and the boss of the other samurai, like the other gang, has no idea who he is, and he reveals his plans. Now, he didn't know who Zatoichi was. He sends his sort of lackeys to go and attack him to sort of silence him, because he didn't realise that who Ichi was. He didn't realise that was the rival clan samurai. And the other swordsman says to him, he says, "Leave him alone. Don't touch him." Basically, in other words, don't touch him, because they're going to get their asses kicked, and they do. So of course, the evil member of the clan, there's like a hot-headed brother. There's always that kind of guy. There's always sort of the arsehole in these films. He got a girl pregnant, and he ends up killing her, puts her body in the lake. He doesn't want anybody to know that he got this girl pregnant. Because he's there sort of looking after Ichi. He's sort of like the boss, because he just wants to use Ichi for his skill, and he's signed this guy to sort of like look after Ichi, sort of pamper him, make sure he's looked after. And you think like Ichi's not wise to the idea. You think, okay, he doesn't know that this guy has murdered this girl. And there's a wonderful scene where he says jokingly, when he couldn't find him or something, and Ichi comes in, he says, "What, was you worried I'd fallen in the lake?" Just like sort of twisting his, pushing his buttons a little bit, because Ichi knows, like I say, he doesn't suffer fools. He knows what he's done, or he's got a suspicion of what he's done anyway. He knows. So like I say, he ends up, he kills this girl, and it's him that's looking after Ichi. And he's also horrible as well, because he's trying to get his sister to go with this guy who's in his clan as well, and he's sort of forcing himself on her as well. And you just know that Ichi, he doesn't stand for it. He just does not stand for it at all. I love how there's a wonderful scene as well when the boss even offers him money, and Ichi's like, "Is that it? Is that all you're going to give me?" He will not be taken for a fool. Even when he overhears the boss talking about him, he explains that he makes a point that he doesn't want pity. "I don't want to be looked down upon." And that's what makes this character such a strong force of nature. It really does. The rival samurai wants to fight Ichi before he dies, as he doesn't want to die by scoundrels, because he views, like I say, all the lackeys, all the henchmen, they're beneath them, because they're skilled. They're warriors, proper warriors. And they're going to end up shoot Ichi. Like, one of them's got guns. They're saying, right, we're going to shoot him. Now, knowing that this isn't fair, the samurai, though ill, goes and put in the one condition that they don't shoot Ichi. So there's a wonderful sense of, like I say, not loyalty, but just respect for a fellow warrior, as I say. So, just so that they don't hurt Ichi, and hearing that guy's going to come along to the fight, the one that's ill, Ichi goes along too to the battle, even though he told the boss he wasn't needed, as the samurai was ill. And it's very poignant as well. Even when Ichi finishes, kills the guy, he's crying as well. He's got tears coming from his face, and he didn't want to kill him. It's just the situation. It was just this is the way his life is. It's very emotional. It's a very impactful scene. He doesn't enjoy taking life. It's not something he wants to do. Obviously, and he's highly skilled swordsman, and it's sort of all he knows to do. He's obviously, like I say, a masseuse, and he can do. That's another thing that he does, and like I say, he likes to gamble. But it's the sword skill and his his skill with the sword that really is where he makes his money and his living, and how he gets by and that kind of thing. A really strong start to the film series, and our introduction to this wandering blind masseur swordsman with, like I mentioned, some fantastic emotional scenes. The sister of the Yakuza member begging for Ichi to take her with him at one point, and he knows it's no life for her, and says it's like being in like a bog. The life he does is you can't always pull yourself out. She just wants to go with him so much, and she's the sister of the guy, the brother who killed that girl and was trying to get his friend to set him up with his sister and things like that. She just wants a better life, and she loves him, and she wants to go with him. And he's like, look, it's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be easy. And what I do is not glamorous. It's not pretty, and I don't want to drag you with me. So he's sort of forever alone. He doesn't want to drag anybody through what he has to put up with. And there's even an emotional scene where he says, you must be very pretty, and she allows him to sort of touch her face. Really, really emotional scene. And then then the mic off. There's another when he says to her as well, there's like, you feel sorry for him when he says, whether the sun is out or the moon, whether the moon is out or the sun is shining, it's always dark for me. And I think that's very poignant. I think that's it's a really sad line, but it just, you just feel sorry for Ichi. You really do. You do really feel like you feel his pain, and like no matter what the weather is, no matter how beautiful the day is, he still can't see it. And I think that's very, it's heartbreaking in places. It really is. And like I say, these films, don't view them, if you go into these, don't view them, okay, it's going to be loads of swordplay, because it isn't. They're very much, like I say, soap operas. They're very much just look at somebody who is, he is a wanderer, he is a drifter, but what he encounters, he sometimes makes their life better, or there's something good that always sort of in a way comes out of it. We learn of a guy that is not afraid to speak his mind, when he first sits in the Yakuza hangout as well, at the very beginning of the film, like I mentioned, when they're gambling. As soon as he sits down, he says, God, it stinks in here. He knows straight away these are bad dudes. He knows straight away that these are not good people. The film, although a sense of justice more often than not serves, that they all have a somber undercurrent to them. As I say, there is good that comes out of these films, but at the end, in regards to the story. But there is, like I say, an undercurrent to them that does happen, a somber one, a very sad, melodic one. And at the end of the boss is celebrating about his victory. And the first time in the whole movie, right at the end, Ichi opens his eyes. You see him actually opens his eyes, because the whole film, his eyes are shut. He can't see, he's blind. And he says, why are you celebrating, like, sort of when half your men are dead? Like, where's the victory in that? Like, how do you work out, in your logic, how do you work out that this, is a victory? How does that make this a victory? I love it. There's a wonderful bit of justice at the end when talking about the guy who killed the girl in the lake, and he's just horrible. This guy, he's horrible because he's so two-faced to Ichi. Like, even when Ichi sends him to get some wine, he says, I want you to buy the best wine in town. This guy basically just gets the cheapest wine he can and just keeps the rest of the money. It's like, I just want this, you want some justice served with this guy. But at the very end of the film, he goes to attack Ichi. He ends up basically knocking him into the lake. The guy, I assume he sort of drowns to death. And Ichi just walks away, basically saying, probably just some nobody. In other words, you're not even worth my time. Like, I knew what you was up to the whole time. This was going to happen. He doesn't even just give him the sense of, like, the idea of giving him his attention. He's just like, probably some nobody, and just walks away. He knew what he was up to. But my advice is to anyone, if you've never seen any of the Zatoichi films, or Zatoichi, however you choose to say it, in order, if you've never seen any of them, watch them in order, because they are really, truly, it's a fantastic character study, played with absolutely amazing brilliance by Shintaro Katsu, and hopefully, as I say, I'll get round to reviewing all of these films in there. Probably take a while to find time to sit down and review them all, but hopefully I can. But if you haven't, start at the beginning. If you ever see this box set cheap, if it is, because I bought it for quite a bit of money, but if you ever do see it and it's on sale, or you just want to experience some Japanese cinema or some world cinema, make sure to pick it up. And hopefully I'll get to review them all soon. But thanks for joining me. Hope you've enjoyed the review, and I'll see you again soon.